The following is a Roll Poll production.
We're on. We're good to go. All right. Motor City Metrics here. Welcome everybody. We were in the middle of a rain delay in Game 2 of a doubleheader. I am Chris Brown. Alongside me, we've got Mike Pepchak. We've got Yoop. I believe Raj is lurking in the background somewhere. Yeah. So here we are. I missed last week. Sorry about that. I don't remember what I was doing.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, it was. No. We had a pool party. We had my son's annual pool party, last day of school pool party, and for the second year in a row, I had to drive somebody home, an adult who had been overserved somewhere else, and came to our house. But yeah, speaking of getting overserved, how about those tiger? I don't know. Yeah, so here we are. It's been a week. I missed a lot of what we talked about last week, but Tigers fans were kind of on edge after losing a series to the Reds over the weekend. But since then, we've seen. I'm trying to remember when they signed Hernandez.
Monday?
Was it? So it was between now and the last show. The bullpen has been shaken up a little bit. The offense is kind of waking against Pittsburgh. That obviously helps. But yeah, so a lot of rain in the area, and here we are.
Well, I mean, you brought up the Reds. We could probably start there a little bit just because I think that was easily the worst series the Tigers have played since maybe the opening weekend. And Hinch basically said that as much. The defense wasn't on point. Offense was leaving a lot out there, a lot of runners in scoring position. And the bullpen, I mean, granted, again, like you said, it's going through some attrition right now with injuries and maybe guys coming back down to earth a little bit. I don't know. I'm not the kind of person that's ready to say the sky's falling after one series, but I think that I understand it to that point. It's that it's the worst we've seen them play in quite a while.
Well, they let Ellie De La Cruz get loose, right? He was a one-man wrecking crew, and he wrecked them. So he's the kind of guy that can do that. He is just an extraordinary talent in so many different ways. But yeah, I think really it boiled down to just we saw a defensive team take the field for the Tigers in the Red Series that we just hadn't seen much of. And that happens, over the course of 162 games. Even the best of best teams have 10 or 12 unsightly / ugly baseball games. I mean, it's just going to happen. And that was the Tigers drew that number especially on Sunday, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think, people just get upset when they don't play well, right? Like, it's one thing if you lose like 2-1 and it's, everybody goes, that happens. But first game they won, but the second game was Jack Flaherty suddenly walking everybody and giving up a grand slam. And you're like, boy. And then you got, and then the third game, it felt like we've seen that game so many times since last August, right? Where the Tigers, you take the lead at the end and hold on and win. And that it just didn't happen. They, Brent Herter got the comebacker and kind of panicked and threw a little underhanded worm burner to Torkelson. And that just led to all sorts of stuff. And then the vibes were bad because Will Vest hurt his pinky finger and everybody's like, what? But he's back out pitching tonight. And, the Pirates are the cure for what ails you sometimes. They got a nice win yesterday. Javi Baez, I guess it's 2 days ago, right? Yesterday was rained out. Another great Javi Baez game for the memory banks this year. And then today you get not even vintage Skubal, right? It was Skubal pitching in bad conditions and but still kind of fighting through it. And then the offense coming through with a nice performance. And this nightcap, we don't know how it's going to go. But, it's always fun to see Paul Skeens pitch. And he did what you kind of expect him to do. But the Tigers really did make him work. I think they had 5 walks.
5 walks, yep. 105 pitches, 6 innings.
Yeah, I mean, he's so good that's he still got through 6 innings with a bunch of strikeouts and stuff like that. But they got to him. Those 2 runs were huge.
Yeah.
Because as we saw, Colt Keith comes up later. Well, first you get Trey Sweeney, who's his second at bat in the last 3 weeks, and gets a double. And then Colt Keith hits one of the most shocking home runs we've seen all year. And here we are tied in the top of the 9th.
Oh my God. Did you see the location? So I saw a photo of the location. Mm-hmm. It's like it's like 10 balls lengths away from the strike zone. If that pitch would have gone all the way back and nobody touched it, it would have hit the catcher on the top of the head, like not even square in the face. I'm talking like up here. And he just kind of tomahawked that one out of there. That was nuts.
Yeah, that was yeah, I know. It's fun though. Like, I don't know. Cole Keith is a strange player in that it feels like he's not necessarily super productive, and yet since May 1st, he's got like a 135 WRC plus.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know what it is about him. I think because maybe people were just expecting more home runs, but he's been a really good player for them, and it's been super helpful when everybody's been kind of streaky. So well, that's fun, and yeah, you hope that they can. I don't know when the game's going to come back. Raj said it was raining like crazy at Dearborn still, so I don't know. But I suppose the good news is that the Pirates went and put Dennis Santana out there to pitch, and who knows if he'll be able to come back out if it's a lengthy rain delay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, earlier tonight it was interesting. I thought Wenzel Perez really worked some nice at bats against Skeens, and they were kind of critical at bats, and they really got things going. And later on tonight he swung at a ball, high pitch out of the zone. But what he has added to the offense these last couple of weeks has really helped keep this team afloat in a lot of respects, scoring some runs because they've had some other guys who are pretty darn quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. And we kind of, it sort of felt like that, right? Like, earlier in the season, they were getting carried by Javi Baez playing center field and Trey Sweeney having crazy 4-hit games, and suddenly but we knew that wasn't really going to last.
Mm-hmm.
And now Javi has maintained a level of solid play that I think I wasn't really expecting, even though he had a lull there. But we thought maybe Parker Meadows and Wenzel could give them, somebody was going to randomly give them that boost, and for a while it was Dingler. And he's been playing well, but yeah, Wenzel Perez with home runs from both sides of the plate, and yeah, he's just he's a really nice player to have on this team.
Just a very rare ugly at bat from him.
Yeah.
He works. He really works each at bat really nice, and it just seems to fit in with the Tigers propose. What they propose as their ethos.
Yeah. And it honestly, it's helped a lot with Gary Carpenter has just not been himself for a month or so now, right? Like he's swinging at everything. He's not hitting things very hard. He had the 3-homer game, but other than that, he hasn't done much of anything. I assume a lot of that has to do with whatever's going on with his hamstring, and I don't know, but that doesn't necessarily make you stop walking completely. But I don't know. It's been a nice boost for Wenzel Perez there, and I don't know. It just that's sort of how this team feels, right? It feels like there's always going to be somebody who's pulling a little bit more of the weight than they should, and at some point it'll fall apart. Like you said, what the Yankees lost 4 or 5, 6 in a row.
6 in a row. They won today.
Mm-hmm. The Mets had lost 5 in a row. Like even good teams go on losing stretches, so we'll see that at some point. But so far, the Tigers have really avoided that.
So, going back to Carpenter,
mm-hmm.
It would be good to know, and then you're not going to hear much, but is it really a physical malady right now that's holding him back? And one thing I noticed, he's just not catching up to high heat like he did last year. Last year, he could get at a fastball chest high and do something with it. And this year, it is just blowing him away. And that could be if he's on a bum wheel, that can affect a lot of things. We certainly saw that insane send by Joey Cora with him earlier in the week. I posted on Twitter that he's running like Fred Sanford. I felt bad for him, and that was totally on the third base coach. My gosh, you got to know the guy can't move.
Yeah, that one, and you look back at that. I think that was with nobody out, right? And so you're going from, I think, men on second and third with nobody out to a man on second with one out, and I don't think they ended up scoring that inning, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, and that was the Flaherty game. He looked like a guy who just like I can't actually physically run. But But I don't, I don't mind. That's just the way the Tigers play, right? Like
It is.
it's one thing they believe in. I think is that you force the other team to execute perfectly for the most part. That's why they always run. Like, I think they always do the contact play. They always, take the extra base. And for the most part, it's worked really well. It just, with Gary Carpenter, you got to go, well, I don't know.
This is the first time I've criticized Joey Cora, I believe, ever. And because I agree with you. It's what they do. It's what they live by. I'm cool with it most of the time, except when a guy physically can't run.
Yeah.
So
I did not realize how bad it truly had gotten for Carey. He in the last 28 days, he's got 1 walk, 18 strikeouts, and the 3 home runs in the 1 game, 4 doubles. And it's been getting worse. Last 14 days, his OPS drops from 655 to 467. And in the last 7 days in 5 games, it's 322 OPS. So
and that's not him. Like he's been protected a little bit in his first couple of years in the big leagues by not facing lefties, but he's still not facing a ton of lefties. It's just and he's a guy who can get hot and carry the team for a few days or weeks, but something's just not there right now. And I do think it seems the message is out. You throw high fastballs and you can beat him, and he'll chase, like you were saying, but he's just not catching up to it. He's not making him pay for that. So I don't know. They need to work on something. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if when Veerling comes back, maybe you put Carpenter on the IL for a couple weeks. I mean, This is one of the reasons you build a 10-game lead in the division, right? Like, I don't know. And just in the general vibes of the team, I don't picture the Tigers just continually going on these, 6-1 runs. It sort of feels like they've reached, cruising altitude, and they're going to stay somewhere between 15 and 20 games above 500 for the rest of the year, hopefully.
Let's hope.
But nobody else is playing well in the division, so I think they can afford to give a guy a rest. But maybe, who knows? Maybe there's absolutely nothing that they could do about this hamstring without, surgery or a full season off or something like that. So
it would be interesting to know, and we never get to really know on that one. They keep that pretty close to the vest, which I understand. But speaking of vest,
there you go.
Yeah, the segue, a master of the segue. He just pitched, came in, allowed a couple of base runners, but he dusted O'Neill Cruz and he dusted Andrew McCutchen, and he got 2 of the best. He got him on strikes from Dan Dickerson possible. He really put a worry in everybody's hearts in Tiger Nation when he came off the mound with an injury on Sunday. What do we think is his future with this club right now in the short term? Are they going to go out and get someone who will close games, or are they going to continue with the Canely Vest combo, and they're just going to bring in another reliever to kind of add depth?
Well, I mean, I think they're going to get somebody that has the ability to close games, but I don't think that they're going to, like Hinch has basically showed us, he's not going to go with just a single closer, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to continue to use, if they were to get another guy, maybe another strikeout guy, then you're going to see him get save opportunities along with Vest and, to the lesser extent, Canely. But I don't think things would change necessarily too much in that regard. You just see the saves go to 3 people instead of 2 right now.
Yeah, that's almost exactly what I was going to say. Hinch, you saw Canely come in the 8th tonight, right? I think because he was facing the heart of the order, I believe, or I don't know. It's Pittsburgh, so there isn't really a heart. But not that we don't like our friends in Pittsburgh, but I think it would just be nice to get another guy that Hinch relies on who could pitch the 8th, 9th, 7th in that case. And I think they will. They'll go out and get somebody like that, I believe, or at least somebody who's supposed to fill that role. Whether or not the person does fill that role, you never know. Relievers are crazy. And I also think that they might go out and get another lefty reliever. Because the Tyler Holton thing is starting to get worrisome. I've
been willing to give Tyler Holton all the benefit of the doubt almost up until very, very recently, because he had been so good for 2 years, so steady. it was hard to believe that he had lost it to this extent. Now, he still gets some outs here and there, but the long ball is hurting him, and there's really no dancing around it right now. He's pitching his way out of the circle of trust.
Yeah, I think Cody Stavenhagen tweeted that he's already given up more home runs this year than he did all of last year. I think 8 this year, 7 last year, and he's just not pitching to the edges of the zone anymore. And I don't, he never had that sort of dynamite stuff. It was always just kind of precision and keeping hitters off balance. And if you're throwing 90-mile-an-hour cutters or 92-mile-an-hour fastballs right in the heart of the zone, big league hitters are going to crush it, and that's what's been happening. So I don't know. There are always lefties out there who are weird and intriguing, and the one I keep mentioning is Hobie Milner of the Rangers, who I think throws about 88, but just gets people out. He's done it for years now, and the Rangers. I don't think the Rangers are. Who knows with the Rangers, but they've traded with the Rangers before, and there may be some common ground that they can find.
Yeah, there could be some business to be done there. I agree. I always said Holton kind of had a boring dominance to him. I mean, he doesn't blow you away, but he just keeps kicking people's ass, and they need it. I mean, it's definitely It's funny to say this with a team that's 20 games over 500, right? But you can just sense where this is going, and when they get through the dog days of summer, if they don't have that steady presence out there, what that's going to mean moving forward.
But we've also seen that they really are. They're all about just finding guys and pitching them. Hernandez looked good in his 1 1 1/3.
Yeah,
like he throws hard, and the splitter was looking good. And I think that the thing with him has always been kind of inconsistency, right? And that's tough from every reliever. Greg Soto used to look amazing at times, and then other times he'd walk the bases loaded and give up a grand slam. And so we'll see on that. And then Dylan Smith looked pretty solid. Got his first strikeout today, so that's another guy that they're willing to use. Tyler Owens came up, didn't pitch at all. John Brebbia, was nice knowing you. You were a very funny man, but you were not a very good pitcher anymore, and that's a shame. And they're going to keep doing that, I think, probably for another month or so, like using any arm they can find. And if guys have consistent success, they'll stay in the bullpen. Brisky is down in Toledo right now, working it out. Reese Olson is pitching down in Toledo tonight, using his changeup, I might add.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, let's see, through 3 innings, scoreless. He's pitching in the 4th here, 4 strikeouts, 55 pitches, no earned runs.
There you go.
Me thinks that Reese Olson, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, no runs, no walks. If he doesn't feel any discomfort after this start, I imagine we'll be seeing him very soon. So that's good news.
What do you think about Matt Manning? Everybody wants to know.
So the funny thing, the other night, it was I think Troy Melton started for Toledo, and he did what happens several times a month. A Tigers pitcher throws 30 pitches in an inning, and that's it for them. They don't get to come back out. So he hit the 30-pitch mark in the 2nd inning, so they had to pull him out. And Toledo used all their pitchers, and they had Matt Manning up throwing in the bullpen twice, and then they used Riley Unroe, the position player, to pitch the 10th and the 11th inning, and he got the win. So they used the position player instead of Matt Manning. Now, the thing, my theory there is that, and we've learned this about the system, is that they consider getting up to warm up in the bullpen the same as coming in to throw an inning.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you get up and warm up twice, they consider that 2 ups, right? And Matt Manning may have only been earmarked for 2 ups. So it was either 1 up and getting warmed in 1 inning, or 2 innings. And since he got up twice, they didn't bring him in, just part of their arm management or whatever. But yeah, I mean, he's still Matt Manning. He's pitched fairly well as a reliever. He's throwing slightly harder. Instead of 93.5, it's 95.5, touching higher. But he still doesn't have like that wipeout secondary pitch to strike people out. And I don't take it as a good sign that we've seen just about everybody else, including multiple players added to the 40-man roster.
Yeah.
Before Matt Manning came back up. Now, maybe they're just really hammering home and want to make sure that he's completely comfortable as a reliever, but I don't think that I don't know. I think we will see him. Otherwise, why is he on the 40-man? But I couldn't tell you when. It's not like he's been a revelation down there. He's just been okay.
Yeah. It's more like his results are decent, but the
Yeah.
way he's gotten there doesn't look much different, right?
Yep.
It seems to me like his main hope is to become the next Shelby Miller, which is damning with faint praise. I mean, just have that one pitch that he can survive with
Yeah.
out of the bullpen. And Shelby Miller didn't do much for the Tigers, but you know what? He's closing games now for Arizona. You know, he's dropped a couple of those too, but he still has a job and gets the job done most of the time.
Yeah, you know, there's always going to people. There will always be people that give you a chance if you're a first round pick. I mean, Bo Burrows is pitching in Double A for Pittsburgh right now. People don't give you, they give you a try. And if Manning doesn't ever, make it up to Detroit again, I'm sure some other team will give him a shot and work on it because, what made him enticing 8 years ago is still kind of there. The big frame, he's never really had a bad injury. He's been hit by liners. He's athletic, although it doesn't ever really show that way. But yeah, I don't know. We may see him. We may not.
Well, and you mentioned it before. That's who I was going to ask you about. Last year, the Tigers brought up Brandherter, who was struggling with a 5+ ERA.
Mm-hmm.
Brought him into the bullpen as a bulk reliever, sometimes situational reliever. Really scored with that one. Do you think another starter coming up like Troy Melton could happen as the summer wears on?
I think it's probable that we'll see Troy Melton at some point if he doesn't, get put in a trade package. Raj has mentioned several times that AJ Hinch really likes Troy Melton, and Rogelio's down there at the stadium far more than I am. I've only been down there a few times this year. But with Melton, I kind of there's something similar to Matt Manning there, except Melton actually does throw 98. Is that he doesn't really have a reliable dominant secondary pitch. He's got 5 secondary offerings, and at times they all look like they could be above average, but none of them are ever like, super like, oh, that's the pitch, that's your out pitch. But he's a big, strong kid. He throws very hard. He throws. He can go deep into games. He holds his velocity. He's got all the pitches. He's learning kind of what he learned in Double A last year. Is you got to be better with your command. He's given up a bunch of home runs already in Triple A, and then you get a little gun shy and you're nibbling and you're walking guys.
That leads to a 30-pitch inning.
Yeah. But if you brought him up to the big leagues, and honestly, there's a ton to work with there, and if you think like Lund and Feder can kind of tweak things here and change his pitch uses and stuff, I can see him developing into a number 4 starter in time. But if they just want a flamethrower out of the bullpen, he could be that. I think he could be. You put him in 1 inning stints, and he's probably touching triple digits.
There you go.
So that would be fun. And I believe they have to add him out on the 40-man after the year anyway. So get it over with.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. He'd be. Is there anybody else throwing triple digits at AAA?
Not for the Tigers, no.
Yeah, no, exactly.
No, I'm trying to think. No, nobody even getting up to 98 or so. I think Bailey Horn can touch like 96 when he's at his best. Matt Manning has done that. Yeah, they don't. It doesn't seem. Extreme velo does not seem to be something that the Scott Harris front office targets.
They don't chase it. I agree.
Even going to the draft, and they seem to like interesting pitch mixes and unique angles and unique movement a lot more. I'm just thinking of like the guy, Josh Randall is the guy they took last year out of San Diego. He could touch 98, but it's a bowling ball sinker, and doesn't miss a ton of bats with it. So I don't know. Maybe they don't necessarily believe in that.
Chris, have you gotten to see Kenny Sewell yet? The knuckleballer?
Not in person.
Okay.
He was gone. He was out of West Michigan before I got a chance to go see him. He absolutely he looked the best he's looked in his most recent outing with Erie, which is, a knuckleballer in any given outing can look completely unstoppable or like a middle schooler trying to pitch to big leaguers. And for whatever reason in that game, his knuckleball was just dancing all over the place. It was, it would move half a foot at the last moment, or it would look like a curveball, or it would break, in on a right-hander. It was. I think he gave up one hit and struck out 5, 6, 7, something like that. He was really good, and they only had him throw 5 innings, and it was like 60 pitches. And he's a knuckleballer; he could probably throw forever. But the interesting thing about him is he does have like a low to mid 90s fastball too that he could throw, and he does have breaking balls and stuff. So I don't know. I always say you can never ever tell with a knuckleballer, right? Like they just have to come up and do it a bunch at the big leagues and have success before you go, yep, that'll work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if has there been any word on the Tigers game yet?
I'm looking that up now. I'm not seeing anything, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything on the delay yet. Nothing officially. Keep you updated as we find more.
Yeah. So I don't know. In the today, game 2, as we said, we talked about Tyler Holton being kind of a bummer. Dug him a bit of a hole, which you don't want to get into with Paul Skeens on the other side. And then Montero gave up a solo home run, but other than that, it was 5 innings of really solid pitching again from Montero, who suddenly I think his ERA is 4.02. You take that from a number 5 starter any day of the week.
Absolutely. And I think it'd be interesting to see how long they keep the opener strategy going, because really it's all boils down to left-handers, right? He hadn't been getting every left-hander out, struggling against them sometimes. But if Holton's not going to button down that first inning, then it's just Herder. Maybe they want to save to later in some of those games. I don't know. Either they're going to get another lefty, or maybe Montero is going to get opportunity to just start games.
Yeah, it does feel like Herder would be a nice opener too, but I agree with you. They seem to like Herder to be like their emergency, get us out of this jam in like the 6th to the 8th inning.
Yeah.
And he's been great at it. I can't complain about the usage of him at all. He's been really good. So it would be just nice to have another Herder, I suppose.
If only.
Herder. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Hobie Milner. There you go. You're here first from Chris Brown. I like it.
Well, I'd say, yes, Hobie Milner and his 88-mile-an-hour fastball. But I don't know. He gets guys out. And it just seems like the funky sort of thing that they would do. But, everybody wants – I've mentioned David Bednar a bunch. Everybody wants Seth Halverson, right? Like these are guys that probably a lot of teams are going to be going after. So,
yeah. The one I like out of Colorado is that Jake Bird.
Yeah. He'd be fun too.
I'd like him a little more than Halverson, only because of and again, do I know everything about the Rockies? Hell no, I don't. No. But it seems like he has a little better control command than Halverson.
Yeah. No, I agree. And yeah, both of those guys look great when they were pitching against the Tigers out there in Colorado. And that's not an easy place to pitch at all. But again, yeah, it's just impossible to know. It's like dealing with Colorado feels like dealing with North Korea. Like, they're not gonna. No, we're not moving these guys. And then suddenly they send a ballistic missile over to the Cubs.
That's right.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to touch on with the Tigers planet over the last week or so.
I mean, we could start our first segment here if we want to get into by the numbers.
I'm good with that.
I would love to start the thingy, but Roger is our producer, and he's away.
Away from his desk right now. Yeah, I mean, we could keep jabbering until that comes on, but we might as well. We'll just go with it. Yeah, just the inside the numbers music if you listen to this.
I was gonna mock it, but it's just gonna sound like totally ridiculous. But anyway, I could start with mine.
All right.
Just because I want to be positive, because I've talked a lot of shit about this guy a lot since I've been on the show. 126. That is Javi Baez's current WRC plus. If the season were to end today, that would be the second highest of his career, outside of 2018. I think it was 2018. I don't know, man. I love being wrong when I think a player on the Tigers roster is going to be crap, but I thought I saw enough of Javi Baez the last 3 years. He's been worth 1.8 WAR per Fangraphs in the last 3 years, and Fangraphs has him at 1.6 right Just to kind of contextualize, I realize I've kind of brought this up a lot lately, but I just still think it's truly incredible what he's doing right now. He's playing defensively, like really well defensively at three positions. Just holy crap! You've never seen an MVP All-Star candidate kind of guy go from where he was to where he went, and now he's here. It's just the craziest career arc ever, and it's one of my favorite stories of this team this year.
Yeah, I heard some people were kind of joking about it. You go back and look at that shortstop class, right, from 4 years ago now, 3 years ago, and I believe Baez is having the best year of all of them. I haven't looked at what Seager's doing. Seager's been the best performer. Correa's been, I think, better than people maybe expected, just given how many injuries he's had. And Trevor Story's been kind of a disaster. Simeon was awesome, but he's only been playing second base, and I think he's got off to a really bad start this year. But yeah, suddenly Javi Baez looks like hey, maybe not so bad after all. It really is. It's a fun year for comeback stories, right? You got Mize, you got Torque, you got Baez. They're all defying expectations in one way or another.
Yeah, and just defensively too. It matters considering we did a lot of shows last year about how poor the defense looked in certain areas, especially in the infield. So just really, really nice to see. What do you got, you?
My inside the numbers, we already talked a little bit about some of it, but tonight my numbers are 412 and 0.308. The 308 is the slugging percentage of one Jared Triolo coming into tonight. And the 412 was the bomb that he hit against Tyler Holton that pretty much shocked everybody. I think it might have been the longest ball he's hit this year. And he's come in with really no power whatsoever. People were stunned he was able to get that over the center field fence. Very unlike him and unlike his career. And just kind of gives you a sense of what's up with Tyler Holton. I mean, to give up a bomb like that to kind of a nondescript utility guy, I think, again, earlier I mentioned I was trying to give Tyler Holton all the rope possible. But I think unless things change pretty quickly, I think tonight giving up that kind of home run plus the other homer really kind of signals to Scott Harris that they need to get the wheels in motion to add a left-handed presence in that bullpen.
Yeah. That's Jared Triolo. I remember him being where was he? Baylor? Maybe not Baylor. I don't know. He was a vague prospect back in the day, but all those vague prospects end up with the Pirates. Yeah. So mine is actually it's 52%, and this is where we talked earlier about Kaiser Montero has mostly been good this year. For that 4.02 ERA, very good. He's allowed 25 earned runs. 13 of those have scored via the home run. That's where the 52% comes from. It's kind of all or nothing against Kaiser Montero, but that 52% is one of the highest marks in baseball. So, I don't know what you can do there, but if you can cut that out, then you may really have something because he's not giving up. He's not giving up these like extended rallies. I think he's throwing strikes at a better rate than he did last year. So I don't know, just an interesting aspect of his game right now. It feels like he'll just like today. It was I think five innings of 1-run ball. The one home run was a pitch right down the middle, and that's just he can't get away with that. And that seems like when he's getting in trouble, that's what's happening. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I guess that probably happens to most big leaguers. If you don't have 98 and a diabolical changeup, you can't really throw it right down the middle. But
right.
Well, I don't know. Me and Roger are actually talking about Kaiser Montero quite a bit, and I feel like he's a huge victim of box score watching. It's a lot of talks with some casual fans, and they're just like, "Oh, he sucks," and it's just, man, more people should watch him pitch. I love his story. I love the 16 signing as a 16-year-old. Just it's awesome every time I see him pitch.
Here's a question for you guys. Mm-hmm. From today forward, so forget about what's already happened this year. Who will post a higher, let's go with F4, Sawyer Gibson Long or Keter Montero?
Oh, that's a good one. I would be inclined to say Montero. Just Gibson Long, I think they really like a lot, but it seems clear to me that he's still working back from Tommy John.
Mhm.
Like he's at like what 25 innings right now, and his velocity was down in his last outing, which is kind of consistent with what you see from guys in spring training when they
Yeah.
hit that 25, 30 inning mark. He's got like a dead arm right now, and my guess is that when Olsen comes back, it's probably Gibson Long going to Toledo, not Montero. But I don't know. We'll see. That'll be an interesting decision for sure.
Because I also wonder, do they move him to the bullpen?
They could,
Long,
yeah,
Long.
yeah. That would work too. I mean, he's not a big flamethrower, but he's got all the pitches. He throws strikes for the most part, and that's a good way to manage his innings. And yeah, I could see that for sure.
Because when you look at, I just think of Hannafy. How they use Hannafy. I could see Gibson Long morphing into that kind of role, not to replace Hannafy, just as another guy who does what he does.
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
He's at 11 innings, and I just think it's just that. It's experience. This is a first place team. They're going to use the guy with, even if it's minimal more experience. Montero's got the experience. He's not coming off a Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be putting a sizable amount on Montero if I had that laid out to me. And I'm just now seeing, and we got some people in the chat mentioning it as well. We're looking at a 10:05 restart, which is perfect because that's probably when that could be our curtain call there too.
We'll be wrapping up.
I'll get back to the game.
That works. I don't know. Do we want to move into the other segment then?
Let's roll.
Why don't we just get into the good, the bad, and the ugly? Let's reverse it. Chris, why don't you start us off?
All right. So this is a guy we've mentioned a fair amount, and I think mostly because you and I both have him in our fantasy dynasty leagues or whatever. But and it's not a shocker at all that this guy is good. But Ronald Acuna Jr. came back less than a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's busted up 2 knees, and you worry, is he still good? And he's still very, very, very good. if you could sort FWAR since he came back, 23 games, not including today's game, I guess. 233 WRC plus in those 23 games, 8 home runs, hitting 390 with a 17% walk rate. Only 1 steal, which, he used to steal many, many bases, and maybe those days are over just because of the knees. But what an outstanding, amazing baseball player. He's close to 2 WAR in a month, which is tops in all of baseball in that time. So just didn't miss a beat, and really impressive.
Incredibly impressive, no question. And, since you brought up fantasy baseball, I'm going to blame you. But anyway, when he was hurt, and I have a lot of other outfielders, I floated Acuna around for a couple of trades, and thankfully, in my infinite wisdom, I got no takers. So my people in my league are pretty dumb too. I was dumb for floating them; they were dumb for not taking them. But yeah, he looks really great.
Is it too little, too late for the Braves, though? You think?
I think so. They also apparently are calling up Didier Fuentes. I don't know if you've seen that. If that name doesn't mean much to you, that's fine, because he actually, I'd never heard of him until he came into the spring breakout game. The Tigers prospects played the Braves prospects this year, and he came in and just dominated. I think for 3 innings, I want to say he struck out 7 or 8. It was like, who the hell is this kid? He was 19, was just throwing fastballs by him, sliders. He started in high A. They bumped him up to double A. He pitched 20 innings there. They bumped him up to triple A. He made 1 outing, and now they're calling him up to the majors. I think he's going to start tomorrow. He turned 20 like 4 days ago. He's going to be just the 3rd youngest pitcher to start a game in the 21st century.
Well, I'll be picking him up later tonight.
There you go. Yeah, Didier Fuentes. Really, really impressive young player. So let's see. I'll give a bonus good, just this for fun, because this happened earlier today, and it's the Florida Complex League, so nobody cares. But I've been kind of ever since the Tigers drafted Jude Warwick, I've been kind of his like a cheerleader for him. He was the 12th round pick out of high school in Chicago, and it was just fun to me because he's the sort of player that I never used to take. Getting a prep kid. And today he had a very interesting game in the complex league. He got hit by a pitch, he walked, he hit a home run, he hit a sac fly, and then he hit an inside the park home run. And I went and looked. I looked how many times in Major League Baseball has a player had that stat line: 2 home runs, hit by a pitch, sacrifice fly, walk. And it's once in Major League Baseball history.
Wow.
It happened May 3rd, 1999. Carlos Delgado did it. He went 3 for 6 with a double, 2 home runs, a walk, hit by pitch, sacrifice fly, and the walk was intentional. So
was he a Met or a Blue Jay then?
That 99, I think, was Blue Jays. Let me see.
Okay.
Yep, Toronto at Seattle in a 16-10 game. Let's see what else happened in that game while we're wasting time.
16-10 should have been a few things happening.
Yeah. You got, let's see, who, 5 RBIs. Tony Fernandez, 3 RBIs. Sean Green, 3 RBIs.
Ooh.
Carlos Delgado, 2 home runs. Jose Mesa was pitching. Jose Cruz hit a home run. Sean Green hit a home run. And then for the Mariners, let's see. Oh, Brian Hunter playing left field for the Mariners that year.
Ooh, Tiger legend.
Yeah. Russ Davis went 4 for 4. Russ Davis. Butch Husky hit a home run off David Wells. Russ Davis hit 2 home runs. And Rafael Bornegal. Just fun to see these names.
Yeah.
John
Russ
Halama.
Davis, was he a first baseman?
He was playing third in this game.
Okay.
Russ Davis, career negative 0.3 WAR.
It was his career highlight that night.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, but this is, it's the rabbit hole in Baseball Reference that is always fun. But anyway, so
I'm here to be. Just you guys talk about Jude Warwick. I'm a Jude Warwick stand.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and it was a heck of a game. He stole a base too. 14 steals, 3 home runs, and 14 steal. Wow. Yeah, it'll be fun because Lakeland clinched the playoffs the other day. West Michigan has already clinched the playoffs. Erie needs to win tonight to stay into first place because Akron is the most annoying team in the world. They win 1-run games every day. It wouldn't shock me if Jude Warwick and a couple of the other young kids from the Complex League are up in Lakeland playing in the playoffs in this, August, September, kind of like what we saw with like Frangier Montilla last year. So anyway, I'll move on to my bad, which is the Washington Nationals. They did just end an 11-game losing streak with a walk-off home run today from James Wood, who's awesome. He is very good. C.J. Abrams is a good big league player when he's not out gambling all night. Mackenzie Gore has been excellent. That's about it. For a team that's been really bad for a long time and made some big trades. I don't see the future there. Like they just brought up Brady House, but I don't see it with him. Dylan Cruz has been a real bummer. I don't know what, I imagine the newspapers are kind of all over him in Washington. They have Harlan Susanna, who Raj saw in Erie earlier this year. He throws incredibly hard, but he's probably a closer, I think, or a reliever down the road. And Travis Sikora is a very highly touted pitching prospect, but he's in high A. They really I don't see it. It's ugly. I mentioned this with the Pirates a couple of weeks ago. I think they've been rebuilding for several years, and I don't see the path to contention still, which is that's never a great sign. So,
with the exception of the Complex League Nationals, every team is under 500 combined. They are, as far as like a ERA as an organization right now in the minor leagues, 4.48. Their AAA affiliate, ladies and gentlemen, 5.97 ERA. 5.97 ERA from the Rochester Red Wings. They've given up. You guys want to take a guess how many home runs they've given up this year?
Let's see. The AAA team?
Yeah.
So about 65 games, you say? 70 games?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 84.
108.
Mike.
80.
Chris was off by 1. 85. 85. They've given up 85 home runs as a team. Their walk per 9, by the way, 4.8.
Oh my gosh.
We're talking 1996 Tiger numbers here. It's 69 games. Sorry, you were talking about the Nationals, and you were talking because I saw a stat earlier from JJ Cooper about how the Angels have the worst farm system. Yeah,
That's my ugly. And I absolutely 100% stole it from JJ Cooper. I was listening to that earlier today, and I'm like, oh my god. And it's one of those things where I could have come up with my own, but I'm like, this is too bad not to share. And yeah, it was funny that you were mentioning that because. Raj has done a lot of great work out there and with graphics and things like that, pointing out how good the Tigers farm system has been this year. We've talked about it. Toledo fell back to earth last week. Unfortunately, he lost 6 games against Omaha. But as we said, Erie has been in first place for most of the year. West Michigan ran away with the first half in the Midwest League. Lakeland won. The Florida Complex Tigers are winning their division by 2 games now. They have the best overall record in minor league baseball. And when you add in the big league team, it's super impressive. The exact opposite is the Angels. And it's fun to go down look at this. So Salt Lake Bees are in the Pacific Coast League. They are 27-43 in last place with a negative 125 run differential.
Earned it.
So then you've got the Rocket City Trash Pandas, which is a great name, but a very bad team. I think that's the Southern League. They are 24-40, negative 77 run differential. Then you've got the Tri-City Dust Devils. That's in the Northwest League. 29-36. Not terrible, but it's only a 6-team league. So what are you going to do? Negative 55 run differential. And then Inland Empire, 18-47. They have a negative 151 run differential. Those are the Angels teams in the minor leagues. That is brutal. And we know what the Angels do. They don't care about the minors. They don't build any kind of depth there. They just draft a guy and bring him up. And we saw it with Christian Moore, and they're going to do it again this year. They have the second pick. They're going to take Liam Anderson or Liam Doyle or Kate Anderson, and he's going to be in the big leagues later this year or next year.
Did you see the best part about that Inland Empire's team?
I did not.
ERA 6.04. 6.04.
The Empire has not struck back.
Yes, but it gets better though. The AAA affiliate, Salt Lake Bees, 6.91. 6.9. Talking about you not giving a rat ass about the fans of Salt Lake City. Imagine you getting out of Mormon Temple and you're gonna go to your local AAA affiliate to go support the Angels, and they give you a 6.91 ERA.
Yikes! I mean, if you like offense, I guess, right?
But that's it for me. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stay on here, but I'm gonna go get Max Anderson. Got the go-ahead double for Erie. I'm gonna go get that.
Okay. I'll finish up the show here.
All
right. Well, I'll go next because I might have to dip in a minute here. But I want to start my good off. We talked about him earlier. He's one of my favorite Tigers. If you ask me why I don't have a good answer, it's because I like the guys that feels like they had to really work hard to get there, and there's surprises at every stop. I love Wencio Perez. Dude has just been lighting it up from both sides of the plate. There's a couple articles written about him in Detroit News and in Freep. If you have access to those, they're great. Just talking about how his ability to hit from both sides of the plate this year has made him a huge problem brought up by other managers that they were interviewing. Just he wasn't really able to hit left-handing pitching that well last year. Granted, it was a small sample size, but he's hitting .417 against it this year. Again, very small sample size. He hasn't been back for that long, but he does have a 1100 OPS since he's back. So that's obviously not going to stick around. But I love Perez, and he's another guy. Like he's a guy, and again, but he's a guy that's not getting mentioned. Like with Torques coming back, Baez came back. Parker Meadows has underperformed since he came back, but Perez is even better than he was before he went on the injury list. Better than he was last year right now. So just love seeing the production from him there. My bad is just Boston Red Sox. I don't know if you guys heard, but Christian Campbell was just sent down to the minors.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
He is hitting 159, 243, 222 since May 1st. and he has been a below average second baseman for Boston. So if you're keeping the count, that means, I mean, granted they're getting Abreu back, but right now Abreu's gone. Bregman is no longer, or is injured still. Devers is traded from the team. This was a team that I think people thought was going to perform really well. I think I did too at the beginning of the year. And they're just kind of, it almost seems like they're kind of like, okay, maybe next year. I mean, I didn't think the Devers trade, you look at it as addition by subtraction. I can understand that aspect of it, but when you're giving up a top 15 WAR offensive player, it's really hard to bounce back from that, especially when your rookies aren't doing well.
Not to mention when you you do it in the middle of the night to see it kind of sneak by everybody, and you get called out for your shenanigans, essentially.
It's like, I feel like we don't mention enough how Boston has to be one of like the most toxic franchises in all of sports. People still aren't over the whole Mookie Betts situation, and then this comes out. It's nuts. And granted, I don't think Devers handled his part of things very well either. Ridiculous, especially since now he's willing to do whatever the Giants ask him to, apparently.
Including playing first base.
Yeah.
Which that
he
was funny.
literally told Boston to go to hell. Crazy. But it's kind of tradition. I guess it's become tradition that I talk about somebody who got injured in my ugly every week. Didn't mean for it to happen this way. It just always does. One of my favorite pitchers going into this year is Aaron Nola. He just got put on the 60-day injured list. Granted, he's 1-7 with a 6.16 ERA and 9 starts, but he is in the second year of a 7-year, $172 million contract. His rib cage is hurt after he was trying to get over a hamstring strain. I just think it's top of mind because we're looking at signing a really, really good pitcher in Detroit. And I'm not saying this is what's going to happen to Skubal, but pitchers are fickle. And if something bad happens, boom, 60-day DL, I don't know, just interesting. And I don't really know how long Phillies are really going to hold on with their pitching staff keeps underperforming the way that they have.
It's very interesting as far as like the divisions go. The East has been the NL East has been the most intriguing division to me because there's just two teams and everybody else is just like, the Braves just called up that 20-year-old prospect we saw blow away during the Tiger spring training, the kid from Panama. Is that correct, Chris? Is it Panama? Yeah. And
Didier Fuentes,
just the guy looked really good. And as Matthew said, it could have happened better to a bunch of modest and upstanding people in Boston. But
Colombia, he's Colombian.
Oh, Colombian, that's right. Yeah, Colombian.
Oh,
Yeah, he signed for $75,000 in the 2022 international signing class.
Yeah,
his fans can be called the cartel.
There you go.
yeah,
I like
it. Whereas you look at the NL Central, every team but the Pirates are over 500. But the East is just, it's kind of, Mets, Philly, and then everybody else is kind of just, Ugh.
I mean, the Pirates are the new Rockies, aren't they? Rockies are 8-8 in their last 16 games.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah, look, the Rockies are only 6 back of the White Sox for the worst record in baseball.
Amazing.
I mean, the White Sox are, the worst. The White Sox have the worst record in the AL at 23-50, and the Rockies are 17-57. And so they're not too far off from each other. It's just this is, I think, why people believe the Tigers could get to the World Series this year. It's still, it's, you guys mentioned this earlier. I apologize for not being on the podcast this evening. I'm completely burned out and my head is pounding. So I don't like doing I don't like I don't like doing anything half-ass. So that being said, also, we didn't want people to just, Anyway, the point is, the Tigers right now will be playing about 6 minutes to finish off, and hopefully maybe Wenzel gets a home, or I'm not sure if the Tigers are who's coming to bat, but for those who missed out earlier, I wanted to show this because when you guys talk about Dennis Martinez, and I know you got to go here in a second, Mike. Did you see this Mike, at all? What happened with Dennis Martinez?
Dennis Santana?
Yes,
Yeah.
Dennis Santana.
Yeah.
Arguing with some. I mean, if you still use X, that's where I found it. But
Yeah.
saw some real close-ups, jumping
Yeah.
and swinging at some fans.
Congratulations, you got baited by a fan, because that fan totally 100% baited you. And let me show why this is. I mean, if we do like a John Boy style breakdown, you can see it right here. Like, this guy's like, see, ha 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 ha, I got you, and he provoked a reaction.
I give him credit for swinging with his left hand.
Yeah,
You don't normally see pitchers think like that,
It was a Pirates fan that he was swinging at.
I guess he apparently had a Tigers hat. We have to slow this down. We have to do some slow mo here.
This is the.
So apparently he had a Tigers hat on.
Yeah, that does seem like the Pirates section, right?
Oh, wait a minute. Look at wait. How bad did you miss the garbage can, dude? Look at the way he throws a water bottle. Look at this.
Who throws the water bottle?
Right
that
behind
guy?
him. Yeah, look at the reliever behind him.
Well, there you go. There you go. That's explains everything about the Pirates.
They play baseball, not basketball.
Yeah,
obviously.
Or horseshoes.
Yeah. Right.
Oh man, I just noticed that. Like, how did you like? Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good fun.
Yeah, but anyway.
Oh, he went for the open hand slap. It looked like. It didn't even look like that was a punch. He went for the open hand.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily look like a Tiger's hat. It almost looked like a teal Pistons hat, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, maybe it was the teal Pistons hat pissed them off that much.
I don't know. You gotta
take that logo off.
Red, white, and blue for life, man. Get it off. Get it off. Teal days suck.
Lindsey Hunter fan club was there.
Don Reed was the best center ever.
Oh, Don Reed.
I worked with Lindsey Hunter for like 2 years.
Yeah, he was yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, during the 105 days. But all right, folks. Well, what's up?
Didn't he just leave for a coaching job one day?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he didn't show
one
up
day he woke up and left for Mississippi Valley State, which is crazy because that's like the hardest job in college basketball out of the 366 jobs. Yeah.
By the way, according to Michael, Cody Saberhagen said that the fan was removed from the stadium, so
that's not shocking to me.
Yeah, at all for your asshole behavior. That's what they want to do. They want to start, So anyway, Tiger Game is about to restart and hopefully go from there. But thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. And we'll be back Monday with the Minor League Podcast. Hopefully with a Erie, as Chris mentioned earlier, Akron, a bunch of assholes, winning 7-6 as pretty much this weekend. It might not be set until Sunday, Chris, so I might have to be there all weekend, essentially.
I mean, how absurd is it that you are, let's see, what's the record? They are 43-22, and they're tied for first place.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was talking to Justin, a guy, the Cleveland Guardians insider guy, and he was even. So he's like, it's a veteran staff. It's the same. Like, I think they did it on purpose to mess with Erie. I really do.
Well, and here's the super annoying thing we talked about before. Erie is 19-8 against teams with that are better than 500 this year. Akron is 6-6. They've played 12 games against teams that are better than 500, and those are probably all Erie.
Who's the tiebreaker? Is it
Akron? I think Erie has a tiebreaker, but the way it works, unless Erie has a game canceled, they're going to have one more game than Akron. So they're either going to win the division by half a game or lose it by half a game, or if something goes crazy.
Yeah,
but
we'll see. All right, well, I'll be in Erie all weekend, and we'll see how it goes. And until then, stay closeted, everybody. Have a good night. Wow, we had 2,000 people watching tonight.